Well, hello there, math analysis. Today we're going to talk about solving rational equations. And this is something that you touched on in Algebra 2 last year. So we're just going to do a quick refresher, and then you can get started on some other things. So our first example is going to be x over x minus 6. And we're going to set that equal to 1 over x minus 4. So my question to you is, when you have a fraction equaling a fraction, what do? And someone's probably listening to this video and talking themselves out loud, and they're saying, cross multiply. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'm just going to apologize now because my handwriting is absolutely horrible on this. But you can make do because I have faith in you. Alright, so we set this equal to each other and we cross multiply. And then what? And again, you're saying distribute. And so we're going to go x squared minus 4x equals x minus 6. And now we have to get our function set equal to 0. And when you get it set equal to 0, the easiest thing is just to keep it so that that quadratic term is positive. All right, now we're solving a quadratic. This is nothing new. Try factoring first. If it factors, great. If not, what do you use? Quadratic formula. Excellent. So this guy factors would be x minus 3 and x minus 2. So we get that x equals 3 and 2. Now, when you are solving these functions, the first thing you need to do is make sure that both solutions work. And the big thing you need to do is just plug it in to make sure you're not causing a domain restriction, which means you're not getting 0 in the denominator. So make sure you are checking, and you are checking to make sure that you do not get 0 in the denominator. So fraction equaling a fraction, cross multiplying, strategy number 1, the easiest of them all. Let's move on to example number 2 and get a little bit more complicated with this. All right, so number 2. Let's go with x over x minus 3 plus 2x over x plus 3 equals 18 over x squared minus 9. All right, and that's number 2. So step 1, the first thing you want to do is you want to factor this denominator right here to make sure that they'll help you find your common denominators. So we have x over x minus 3 plus 2x over x plus 3, and that's going to equal 18 over x minus 3 times x plus 3. So the idea here is we want to get a common denominator. And in this case, the easiest way to find a common denominator is to take every factor that you have and use it once. So our common denominator here, our CD, is x plus 3 times x minus 3. Sorry, I'm running out of room. I write ridiculously large. Now, what we want to do is we need to make sure that every single term has those terms. So this first fraction over here on the left, x over x minus 3, needs an x plus 3. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by x plus 3. This second term needs the x minus 3. So we multiply that, and you multiply the top and the bottom because it's like you're multiplying by 1 and it doesn't change the equation. And our right hand side, this 18, it has both. So now what we can do is we can rewrite the whole thing. X times x plus 3 plus 2x times x minus 3. This are both over x minus 3, x plus 3, because it's the common denominator. So that's how we add fractions, so we can go ahead and combine it into 1, and that's going to equal this guy. But the nice thing is if they're the same denominator on both sides, then it goes away, and we only have to deal with x times x plus 3 plus 2x times x minus 3 equals 18. All right, so let's solve that. And we're going to continue over here, and we're going to distribute and get x squared plus 3x plus 2x squared minus 6x, and that's going to equal 18. All right, get everything on one side, set it equal to 0, and we have, why is my pen? There it goes. 3x squared minus 3x minus 18 equals 0. All right, so we're here. Easiest thing in step 1 in factoring is factor out the GCF. What's the GCF? 3. Okay, so I'm just going to divide by that 3. You can factor it out and then divide by it, but in reality, 18 got moved to the other side to make it equal to 0, and when you factor out the 3, 0 divided by 3 is still going to be 0. And we factor again, x minus 3, x plus 2, so we get an answer of 3 and negative 2. Pause, don't box it just yet, because you got to check and make sure that it doesn't cause 0 in the denominator. And remember, our denominators were x minus 3, x plus 3, and x squared minus 9. So 3 does not work, and our only answer is x equals negative 2. Any questions? Jot them down. I will answer them when I see you. Let's go again, and let's do another. Numero tres. Here we go. 3 over x plus 2 plus 12 over x squared minus 4 equals negative 1 over x minus 2. All right, same thing. Figure out the common denominator, and in this case, it is what? X plus 2 times x minus 2. You may not need to factor this first term here, but if you do, you can just factor it right underneath. You can rewrite it in a separate line, whatever works for you. All right, so this guy right here, he needs an x minus 2 to the top and the bottom. And hopefully you're cool with me just writing on top of everything and you can still see it. So we're here. Great. Back to purple. And that's 3 times x minus 2 plus 12 equals a negative 1 times x plus 2. I'm not writing the denominator because I'm just going to cross it out anyways. So now we have 3x minus 6 plus 12 equals negative x minus 2. Combining like terms, I'm going to say 4x equals negative 8, x equals negative 2, but we got to check it. And oh wait, pause, it makes 0 in the denominator. That can't happen. So, what's our answer? No solution. Awesome. And here we go. Let's move on. And I'm going to give you guys a couple to try, and then we'll go over the answers. So these will be our you-dos, and we'll go 4, 3x over x plus 1 equals 12 over x squared minus 1 plus 2. All right, then we'll do number 5 right here. 2 over x minus 2 plus x over 2 minus x equals 6 over x squared plus 3x minus 10. All right, so go ahead, pause the video, take a couple minutes and try these two, and then we will be done and you can go ahead and get started on your classwork. All right, pause it and then come on back. And you're back. Number 4, here we go. So step 1, the common denominator was x plus 1 times x minus 1. So you should have gotten 3x times x minus 1 equals 12 plus 2 times x plus 1, x minus 1. Or you could have written that as x squared minus 9, whatever works for you. We have 3x squared minus 3x equals 12 plus 2x squared minus 2, again, because that's x squared minus 1. Getting that all equal on one side, I got x squared, ooh, that's an ugly 2, minus 3x minus 10 equals 0. I never said my handwriting was fantastic, because it's not. It's horrible on the whiteboard, it's horrible on the document camera, but goodness, on the iPad, it is ridiculously bad. All right, so we get that x equals 5 and negative 2, and guess what? They both work. Check and done. One more to go. Here we go. All right, so when you are looking at number 5, your second one that you were doing by hand, the first thing I would do is talk about that 2 minus x, because that 2 minus x I don't really like. Now, you might be thinking, that's just negative x plus 2. And it is, but that doesn't help us, because this guy factors to be x minus 2 and x plus 5. So we're here. Clearly we need an x minus 2. So the easiest thing to be is take out the negative sign and make that an x minus 2. When you do that, you can actually rewrite the problem, x minus 2, and move that negative to the numerator so you don't have to deal with it. And then you'll see that everything already has the x minus 2, so all we have to do is bring in the x plus 5. So we have 2 times x plus 5 minus x times x plus 5 equals 6. And we go from here, distributing this guy, 2x plus 10 minus x squared minus 5x equals 6, or getting everything to one side, and again, I like to have my quadratic term be positive. That's x squared plus 3x minus 4, and that's going to equal 0. And that factors, and just because of space, I'm going to jump straight to the answer. You should have gotten positive 1 and negative 4, and again, they both work. Okay, so hopefully you've realized that this is not brand new. We've jogged a couple memories. Now you're going to go ahead and work on a worksheet that is 10 questions, and we will talk more when I see you next time. Have a great day, guys.